My name is Nora. I am 20 years old. I still remember the day I first entered the hostel. My parents hugged me tightly and said, "Study well, Nora. Make us proud." I smiled, holding back my tears, not knowing that behind the walls of this beautiful building, a completely different world was waiting for me. A world filled with secrets, whispers, and fears. At first, everything looked perfect. The rooms were clean, the girls were friendly, and the warden seemed kind. But as days passed, I started noticing things that didn't feel right. Some girls would often cry silently at night, hiding their faces under their blankets. Others would sneak out of their rooms after midnight, dressed up quietly, as if going somewhere they weren't supposed to. One night, I woke up to strange noises from the corridor. It wasn't laughter. It was something else, something that made my heart race. When I peeped through the door, I saw two senior girls arguing with a man, someone who wasn't supposed to be there. He was one of the hostel guards. I quickly closed the door, my hands shaking. The next morning, everyone behaved as if nothing had happened. The same girls who had cried last night smiled like nothing was wrong. I wanted to ask, but I didn't have the courage. Later that day, my roommate Sarah whispered to me, "Nora, don't ask too many questions here. People who talk too much get in trouble." That line kept echoing in my mind. Get in trouble. Over the next few weeks, I learned that some of the senior girls were being forced to do things against their will. They were blackmailed, sometimes with pictures, sometimes with threats of being expelled. The same guard who was supposed to protect us was the one controlling them. I couldn't sleep for nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard whispers, footsteps, and silent cries. One evening, I saw Sarah sitting alone on her bed, tears rolling down her cheeks. I asked her what happened, and after a long silence, she said in a trembling voice, "Nora, they made me do something last night. Something I can't even talk about." I didn't know what to say. My throat felt dry, my heart heavy. I held her hand and promised that we'd get out of this place together, but she just shook her head and said, "No one escapes from here, Nora. They have eyes everywhere." From that day, my view of the hostel changed completely. I started noticing the small things, the locked doors, the cameras in hallways, the warden's cold stares. This place wasn't just a hostel. It was a prison covered in paint and flowers. One night, things got worse. The warden called me to her office and said, "Nora, I need your help. You'll meet some guests tomorrow night." Her tone was soft, but her eyes were sharp and frightening. I didn't understand what she meant, but deep inside, I felt something bad was about to happen. When I came back to my room, Sarah grabbed my hand tightly and whispered, "Don't go, Nora. Please don't go." "Why? What will happen?" I asked. Tears filled her eyes. "Because that's how it starts. First they call you for help, then you become one of them, trapped forever." That night, I didn't sleep. I sat near the window, staring at the dark sky, asking myself what I should do. Should I run away? Should I tell my parents? But if I did, they would never believe me. Everyone outside thought this hostel was a safe and respectable place. The next evening, the warden came again. "Nora, get ready," she said firmly. My heart pounded in my chest. I wanted to scream, to say no, but my voice was gone. I walked with her through the dimly lit corridor, every step feeling heavier than the last. When we reached the end of the hall, she opened a door, and what I saw inside froze my blood. There were people I had never seen before, some dressed formally, others smoking and laughing. I realized I was not called there for help, and in that moment I understood the true meaning of hidden nights in the girls' hostel. As soon as I entered that room, my legs felt weak. The air was thick with perfume and cigarette smoke. The lights were dim, and the atmosphere felt heavy, almost suffocating. The warden placed her hand on my shoulder and whispered, "Be polite, Nora. You're special tonight." My body went cold. My mind screamed, "What does she mean by that?" A man sitting on the sofa smiled at me, his eyes scanning me from head to toe. I felt disgust crawl over my skin. I took a step back, but the warden's grip tightened. I wanted to run, to shout, but fear chained my voice. Just then, I saw Sarah standing in the corner of the room, her face pale, her eyes hollow. She looked at me with silent pain, as if begging me not to resist. In that moment, I understood. This wasn't new. This had been happening for months, maybe years. Girls were being used, their dignity traded for silence and money. My heart was breaking, but I pretended to smile. I needed to stay calm, to survive the night. Hours passed like years. Somehow, I managed to escape from that room when everyone was distracted. I ran straight to my room, locked the door, and cried until my eyes burned. That night changed everything inside me. I wasn't the same Nora anymore. The next morning, Sarah came to me quietly. "They'll call you again," she said softly. "If you refuse, they'll make your life hell. They'll ruin your name." "But we can't live like this forever," I replied, trembling. "We have to do something." Sarah looked at me sadly. "Many girls tried, Nora. None of them are here anymore." Still, I couldn't sit in silence. I decided to collect proof. Over the next few days, I started observing everything: the hidden rooms, the suspicious visitors, the warden's late-night calls. I borrowed a small recording device from one of my classmates who studied journalism. I told her I was doing a project, though she had no idea of the truth. One night, when the warden again called me to her office, I secretly turned on the recorder in my pocket. Inside, she was talking on the phone with someone. Her voice was low but firm. "Yes, the girls will be ready tonight. Don't worry, no one will know." My heart raced as I caught every word. That one line was enough, but before I could escape, the warden noticed something unusual in my behavior. Her eyes narrowed. "You're not scared anymore, Nora," she said suspiciously. "That's dangerous." I tried to act normal, but my voice shook. "I just want to go home for a few days." She laughed, a cold, cruel laugh. "No one goes home without my permission." That night, I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't wait any longer. I sneaked out of my room after midnight with Sarah's help. We ran quietly through the corridor, avoiding the cameras. My hands were shaking as I held the small voice recorder, my only weapon. We reached the back gate, but the guard was there. He saw us and shouted, "Stop!" Sarah froze in fear, but I grabbed her hand and pulled her along. We ran barefoot through the dark street until we reached a small police station. I was gasping for breath when I placed the recorder on the officer's desk and said, "Sir, please, listen to this. You'll understand everything." At first, the officer looked confused, but when he played the recording, his face turned serious. "Who is this woman?" he asked. "The warden," I replied. She's selling the girls, using them against their will. Within hours, the police raided the hostel. The next morning was chaos. The warden and 2 guards were arrested. Some of the men from last night were caught too. Girls were crying everywhere, some from fear, some from relief. It was finally over. Sarah hugged me tightly, whispering through tears, "You did it, Nora. You saved us." I smiled weakly, feeling both proud and broken inside. I had lost a part of my innocence, but I had saved many lives. A few days later, a journalist came to interview me. "Why did you risk your life?" he asked. I looked into the camera and said, "Because silence is the real crime." Many girls are afraid to speak, thinking no one will believe them. But if we stay quiet, monsters keep winning. Every girl deserves safety, dignity, and respect. That interview went viral. Soon, people started questioning hostel administrations across the city. Laws were reviewed, inspections were ordered, and awareness programs were launched. Months later, when I finally returned home, my parents hugged me again, just like the day they dropped me at the hostel. But this time, I wasn't the same girl. I had seen the world's darkness, yet I came out stronger. Now, I work as a counselor, helping young girls who face abuse, manipulation, or pressure. Every time I speak to them, I remind them of one truth. You're not alone. Your voice has power. Use it. The memories of those nights still haunt me sometimes. The whispers, the locked doors, the fear, they never fade completely. But they also remind me why I must keep fighting for change. Because somewhere, right now, another girl might be crying in silence, thinking she has no way out. And maybe my story will give her the courage to open the door and walk toward freedom. Moral message. This story teaches that silence only empowers the wrongdoers. Real strength lies in speaking up, no matter how hard it is. Every woman deserves safety, respect, and freedom, and society must protect those who dare to speak the truth.